In my last prototype, there was a problem with custom tiles. I actually knew about this as the advanced tile I showed didn't work as well. This has to do with how different tiles are scaled and positioned. This also affects the effects since they are technically a part of the UI. To fix this, I've made it so one can edit the positioning and scale of the UI. This video heavily relies on the scripting buttons, which are by default bound to numpad 1 through 9 and 0. If you have rebound these or do not have those keys, take that into consideration as all scripting buttons are referenced in this video. First, you need to bring up the tile UI, even though it is currently broke. Next, you need to flip it over. When you press numpad 0, you should see the edit mode enabled title. If anything that pops up on the screen is too quick for you to read, it will also go into your chat log in the lower left. On this side of the tile, we can see that the permission box is really tiny. To change this, we can use the numpad 7 and 8 buttons. 7 decreases the scale, while 8 will increase the scale. Next, we can also see that the box is a little high off the tile. We can use numpads 1 and 2 for this. 2 will raise the menu, while 1 will lower it. To edit the main menu, we just need to flip the tile over. The scaling and positioning keys, 7, 8, 1, and 2, work on whatever menu is currently up. So now that the tile has been flipped, we can position the menu and scale it however we want. Realize that now, since the tile has been flipped, the positioning keys are reversed, so 2 lowers the menu, while 1 will raise it. You then want to make sure to scale it however you want, and then there you go. But this has only fixed the UI problem. Effects are still not working as they are positioned incorrectly as well. To fix the positioning of effects, we will use numpad 4 and 5. 5 will lower the effects, while 4 will raise them. Now, if you're getting tired of pressing the button so many times, you can toggle Mega Change Mode with numpad 3. Since it is a toggle, you can then press it again to disable it. Now you may notice that the effect is super small on this tile, and that is because it is incorrectly sized. To change the size of the effect, use 9 and 6. 9 will increase it, and 6 will decrease it. Using Mega Change Mode, most custom tiles can be reached in one button press. To exit Edit Mode, use your random key, which is by default R, on the tile. Now you can use your scripting buttons like normal, and bring up the UI in non-edit mode. This flexible UI will allow you to use almost any tile like this one here from an old Season 2 mod. This token is a great showcase for the last setting in the edit menu. You may notice that the effect is circular despite the tile being square. And you may have also noticed that I did not mention what numpad 0 does. Numpad 0 switches between circular and square effects. So for those of you that have custom square tiles, this will also now work for those without looking weird. To reflect these changes, the converter has been overhauled. You can put your chosen values, and these default values will be inserted into the script. I have provided 2 defaults. One for the normal URealms tile, which will set all of these fields to blank and make sure this is unchecked. Then you have the custom tiles, which does this and makes sure that square is checked, since I assume many are probably just using an image, which is probably going to be square. As such, you can just drag your tile on, and the tile will be reloaded automatically. There's no need for you to have to save and reload it yourself. And then now the script works and is fully functional. This converter can also convert old saves. So if you have any old saves, it will be able to convert them. Now it will take on whatever values you do have down here, so do be aware of that. The curious among you may want to know what this Reset Internal State button does. To prevent reloading a tile constantly, which understandably crashes Tabletop Simulator, the converter will refrain from reloading the same GUID twice. So if I were to spawn this tile, delete it, and then spawn it again, it will not convert it a second time. As such, if I press Reset Internal State, and then I have the tile collide with it again, it will now load the script onto the tile and successfully convert it. A final little change is that now teams can be selected from the permission box. This allows you to build arbitrary groups of people that are able to view the health box. And so if I were to change this to Jokers only, since I am on the Jokers team, I can now see the health bar. I've added another example to the prototype mod. This tile would normally have a stupidly large UI like this one, but now it can be made to have a reasonably sized UI. For those of you that don't care about technical bits, you're welcome to tune out now. For the technical among you, I have added what I am calling an external API to this tile script. Due to the way Tabletop Simulator scripting works, it is a bit difficult for objects to talk to one another since your function arguments have to be a table and only a table. So to permit this, I have added an external API. This external API is comprised of 2 functions and 3 values which are not supposed to change unless the script itself has changed. Now the 3 public values are the API name, the version, and the major version. So the API name is supposed to be so you can tell the difference between different things. So say I were to make a nameplate type thing, which is, I call the nameplates what you have your actions and your anytimes and move actions on. And so as such, if there were to be an API on those, then it would be like nameplate or UR nameplate, since the UR is supposed to be for URealms and then tile here. And then version is for just slight changes. Version major is if there's like a breaking change. And then you have 2 functions, which is external command and external query. Now before I go into these, you're probably wondering what would even be the usage of an external API. Well, a good example, even though it doesn't even require these functions, it would only require these values, is so a future script can be made that can update every single tile to a new script. So say, for whatever reason, the danger or the stun state is dropped out of tiles completely. Well, then I can just make a script that will go through and remove it from all of the tiles which are currently loaded. And then the external command allows external scripts to change tiles in certain ways. So it can set permanent health, it can heal for certain amounts, it can set the current effect, etc. And then you also have external query, which, as its name goes, it's for querying information, which the only thing I could really think of is just the whole script state, because then from there you can essentially understand everything, other than like edit mode and mega mode, which that's for edit mode and doesn't really need to be exposed externally. And then also a change is, since I added the square tiles, I did have to make a duplicate of every single image. This means that there are now 16 images in total that you would have to host if you want to host this on your own. Albeit all of these are hosted on Imager, and I'm not going to delete them as I fully plan to use this script on my own tiles.